This is part 14 of our FZR restoration series, and I thought it would be a good idea to let the epoxy dry an extra day because I have a couple little details I want to work on here. Now, part of our FZR restoration is going to include a lot of little details, upgrades that, well, actually, I've been wanting to do for a long time. Now, one of the little things that I had on my list of stuff to do here, now I know all modern bikes have this rubberized thing so that the bulbs last longer and everything, but whenever I've looked at this on a video where somebody's been following me and shot video, I don't like the way that looks. So I'm going to try to make a bracket up here, and this is the little project of the day. That'll stiffen this up, and since you don't see it, I don't have to make it, you know, ultimately too pretty. It just has to be rigid. Now, I got plenty of little pieces of scrap that'll be fine for this project, but I really did want to try to, and I'm trying to figure out, see, a good idea, a way you can always evaluate a part that's loose. Put your finger where you think where the gap is opening and closing, and that tells you where it would be the most efficient. In this case, to get this part, I just happen to have a bracket here already. So this may be easier than I thought it was. No, it's never easy. Okay, so I can make this piece, and I'm trying to think, I might be able to put it frontwards. No, the bracket's in the way. Or I can just use this for a pattern. No, I only need, see, actually I thought I was going to make it out of the channel, a piece of flat. I got to go downstairs and see if I got a piece of flat stock. Luckily we don't throw anything away here. Alright, so that would be fine. That piece can fit right in there with no issues at all. Let me just go downstairs and trim this and drill it. And I need to cut that there. And I need to have a hole roughly here. These are not precision holes because the hole here is so big. So what that'll allow me to do so I have the pattern of where I want to drill the holes and where I want to cut this off. And I was originally thinking I was going to use channel. Well, this worked out fine. Now, if we were going to have a part that it's going to be visible, I'd want to put a more polished finish. But the fiber discs that come from Harbor Freight on a little mandrel, these seem to do a nice job of just cleaning things up. This bracket we're not going to see. Some of the brackets I have for the camera mounts and things you see, but this we're really not going to see. But there's no reason not to make it. It takes 30 seconds a minute and it looks a lot nicer. Let me just show. Now, I'm not sure you can see the difference, but it just looks a little bit nicer. We just have to find some appropriate nuts and bolts here. And this one's got some big washers. We need to put big washers on that too, because that'll be adjustable up and down to put pressure on that taillight mount. Most people know this, but I just thought there might be somebody out there who doesn't know it. This is the aluminum you buy in Lowe's, and that piece that I made the bracket out of is a piece of aluminum. It's relatively soft aluminum. This is aircraft grade aluminum, 2024 T6. Now, the difference is if you're making a bracket that something really, something strong has to happen, this is the kind of aluminum you need to use or want to use. If you're just going to make a bracket to hold your camera or something, this is fine. Soft aluminum from Lowe's. But you want to use T6, and 2024 is the machinable grade of it, 6061 or 7075 even better if you're going to make something where there's structure involved. Again, lightweight, no structure, structure. I'm not sure, maybe some people don't know that. Now even small details like this, to me, if you're going to do a restoration, you're going to pull a bike apart and go through it and look for little improvements to make. But this certainly was a good one. Now it's a similar thing. This is just a pretty much stock bike. But there's a lot of little details, and all these little details seem to add up. When I polish this piece, polishing individual pieces make a big difference. I made the camera mount, put a nice finish on it, did the tidy tail, made it a lot nicer than the one that comes with the bike, painted the chain guard, painted the side panels, among other things, and it's a lot of little details. You can do most of them for no money, and they all add up. Here's an example of a bracket. We use that to hold the onboard camera when we're doing multiple cameras, because we can do one on each side, of course. And there's no structure here, so this is fine. And I would always, if you make any camera mount, I've said this on previous videos a million times, use 1/4 inch. A lot less vibration. The footage you have will be much better. Now every one of my bikes has a lot of little detail, extra parts that are polished that on a stock bike wouldn't be polished. We try to share the information. It's not that hard to do, and it pretty much costs no money at all. Sometimes you don't even notice little things until you look real close and you say, oh gee whiz, that's not a stock part. Well, yeah, I made that. So, and a job like making the mufflers, very labor intensive, and I would say that would be out of the realm of a lot of hobbyists. But when you want to do it, you can do it. And I've made many videos of making these parts, all of the little parts that go into this, and now we're going to add the FZR Restoration into that library of stuff. That is one other little detail I want to look at today, and it's believe me, all the little details add up. It's not like you don't notice this stuff. Now what had happened in the past, this speedometer had cracked right down the middle. I was riding a bike one day, hit a bump, and this just was flopping. So when I couldn't take the fairing off because it was the middle of the summer, I didn't want to lose a riding day. I just put a little JB weld that held, but now I've got the whole joint JB welded. And that's another good little point. Whenever you have a bike apart or have the fairings off or whatever, now in this case, I tidied up the wiring. Some of the little things, I trimmed some of the stuff off that we weren't using. And I'm not so sure, I wish I knew, there might be a part missing here because I've had to make some parts. And when we had that issue with the windshield cracking, that solved the problem, but I don't know that there's not a stock part that belongs in there. But anyway, beside the point. Now this is the other little issue. I just wanted to get some idea of how I'm going to resolve this. This part never really fit. No matter what I did, I never could get it to fit right. I'm not sure if there's a spacer that belongs in here or if I'm going to have to modify the part. But I do want to take the time now to take this apart and just see what the hell is going on in there. And there might be a piece missing up here. See, when I bought this bike, pretty much there were a lot of loose pieces. And it may be that I'm missing a piece up here or a bracket or something here that I don't know that I'm even missing it. But I'm going to pull this apart now while I have time. And this is another thing. It's always good to do these kind of jobs while either paint is drying, epoxy's drying, or you just need to not rush a job. Having these little extra jobs like this keeps you from wanting to rush through things where it should be dry in an extra day. So with this piece apart, I can look in at the bowels of the earth here. I realize I'm going to have to make some bracketing here. I'm going to have to do something, but it'll be what I thought would be easier to do. It's going to be easier once the lowers are off the bike. Now, the only problem with having the lowers off the bike is I want to leave the lowers on so my top fairing can fit in there, and I want to make sure all that lines up with the brackets. So I guess for this session, we're going to leave it that we just have this piece taken off, and if I run out of time or if I have some spare time, I can strip the paint off it. Again, I try to sequence this out myself. Now with that piece missing, I can see that I'm going to have to definitely, absolutely do some work on that bottom fairing. And with that piece missing, this is very variable, so I may have to make brackets, but it'll be easier with those pieces off the motorcycle. Just be easier. And we got a lot done today. I'm not disappointed, and it's time to go see our grandson. You sure Daddy didn't let you drive over? Can I see your license, sir? Can I see your... Throw him out the door. Oh, throw him out the door.
Did you get pumpkins?
So are you working on my computer now? Is that what you're doing?